Welcome to Adam and Steve, not
Adam and Eve,
the podcast where we bite the apple. All right, welcome back to your All Things Gay. I don't know why I say All Things Gay, because like it's really only what we're talking about on this one, but it really is All Things Gay and other things, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, anyways, welcome, Adam. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
wait.
No. Okay, no, let's keep going with that. That is great.
Because the host is also Adam.
Right. That's great. So we have two Adams today. So our guest is Adam.
Oh, you're trying to steal my thunder there.
Did not mean to, Adam. I am so sorry.
I love that. So we have Adam.
Yes, Adam as in Adam and Steve. And I'm doing fabulous. And how is the other Adam doing? Our guest.
The other Adam is very well.
So we have Adam Keith
jumping
with
the gun,
us.
but it's all good.
Right. The other Adam is Adam Keith. Okay, this is going to be very interesting. Like two Adams.
I know.
Right. I'm like, now I just realized this is going to be very interesting.
Like, which one are you directing?
Right. Yeah. Well, Adam, our guest, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself before we, get into things?
Oh, my. Okay, let's the long and short of this. From Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania is basically where I grew up, and I've lived all over the United States, New York and Miami, Kansas City, Tucson, San Francisco, LA.
Jesus.
Wow.
Several different careers: fashion design, interior design, product design, fine artist, bartending in between of those, because as a designer you don't make much money. And the adult world, I've been in that for over 12 years, and now writing a script, tarot, acting, mainstream acting. I have to get that correct.
Yeah, right. He's like, I do all of it.
So yeah,
all of the
a
above.
Here, a little there.
So that's what they call a Renaissance man.
Yes,
you
and
just
I did
do
that all
the
before I was 25.
You do all the things. Well, thank you for coming on our little show today.
Yes,
absolutely,
very much.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into fun, interesting things with you, I don't know what's going on with you guys. What's happening in the neighborhood? Anything new, fun, interesting?
Well, I know on the past few episodes we have been kind of talking about Heart, so why not just Heart and WeHo, the new bar that opened up. Me and Steven have talked about it, but what's your take on it?
I haven't been yet, but
okay.
I know Saturday is Hollywood is the promoter is doing a night on Saturday, which I think was Advita.
Oh yeah.
Before, and now he's kind of redoing. I think it's kind of similar party. So I haven't been there yet, but I've been wanting to go. I've seen some of the pictures and whatnot. I know a lot of the people that wound up going there, so that should be fun. But maybe this Saturday.
Yeah, you should go.
Check it out. It's pretty cool.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what? Motherlode reopened.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I haven't gone
when,
in there either.
Yeah, I haven't gone, but you have.
I was
yeah?
there this
yeah. And
there I was.
And just like that.
And just like that.
Just like that. It was, it was, of course, right the night before President's Day, so it was quite busy, packed, but nothing changed inside. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same. The drinks are exactly the same, which is a good thing.
Yeah, they had strong drinks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Motherlode, the cool thing about Motherlode is like if you went to Motherlode, you liked it because it was kind of like that hole in the wall kind of bar, and so nothing changes.
Absolutely,
it's good for the people who went, right? Because that's what they liked about it, So I only popped in there every now and again, but they had really strong drinks, They
do.
And I just thought of this. Is Foo Bar still open?
I don't think they're doing big, fat.
No, you could say it.
I can say that. It's okay. Yeah. Spotted dick.
Big fat dick.
Yeah, big fat dick. I don't know what I'm saying. But the bar itself, I still believe it's open.
Oh,
so
well, I remember we had gone to big fat dick night one night, and we had a friend visiting. He had just moved to LA actually,
right.
And I hadn't been there in a very long time. That night was very different than when I had first gone. I was like, ooh, there's all the things happening here. It was a lot. It was surprising because West Hollywood is a little kind of prudish about things like that now,
Yeah, but the good thing about that, it was far enough away from most of the mainstream
yes.
bars.
Yeah.
So it was just, and it wasn't really, I don't really consider it a gay bar because I think there's it kind of more of a mixed vibe. It's usually that night, Thursday night was a gay night. So I think they kind of got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised what they were getting away with when I went in there because, again, I just, it's just, you know what I mean? Because, like, back in the day, like, WeHo used to be a little bit grittier and stuff like that, but now it's, like, not for the most part.
Sweetheart, I have a story to tell you about that. I know it's not grittier. This is many years ago this happened. I'm close to the bathroom area, and I'm making out with this guy. And we're just, hold on, we're not down, hands not down, pants and all that, but just making out passionately. And someone's like, walks by, get a room. And I'm like, and I turn around, I'm like, first of all, this is a room.
Right.
We are in a room.
This is a room.
That's the definition of a room.
Yes. And I was like, whoa. Like, because when I came out, gay bars were the place to pick people up. And if you saw someone, you may be, passionately, not that you're going to have sex there. This is not Berlin, but I'm like, I'm like, what? Like, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's very, I mean, when I moved here, it wasn't that long ago. I'm not that old, but no, but I remember like it was a little, grittier. You could get away with more things. Like I remember there was a club that was next to the Studs Adult Theater, and I forget the name of it, but like they had a dark room, and like none of our clubs have that anymore. Really, not on the Strip or anything. Like you got to go to
gotta go to like a party, a specific event.
Yeah, so it's just like. So Food Bar was just really getting away with that. It just shocked me. Because remember, even some of the clubs were getting shut down. Like Hair Bar got shut down for a while. Mickey's got shut down for a while because they felt like they were being a little too raunchy with the dancers and stuff. But I don't know. They were just, I guess you got to pay people the right money.
It's unfortunate. It just kills me because it's, I'd love to see your side of being gay. I do. I guess that.
Yeah.
There's a freedom to it. You know what I mean? There's like a Adam knows.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm experimenting with myself a little bit lately.
Good.
He is opening up a little bit more.
Are you opening up to new fetishes or just new places?
Maybe more places.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little fetish.
I'm like,
it just depends.
Somebody's starting to have a little bit of freedom in their life, which is good though, right? I mean, when you really stop to think about things, it's just like, who cares?
Yeah. Doesn't need to be that serious.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What else is going on now?
I don't know. Is there anything else in the gay brand?
I don't know if I have anything else going on in my life except for watching TV. That's really sad now, isn't it? I'm like home watching TV. I actually kind of like that though sometimes.
Yeah.
Well,
but
sometimes you do. You have to sort of recharge and relax.
Yeah.
You go out every night. It's like it gets expensive first of all, and then it's like it gets a bit boring.
Yeah. It's like it becomes the same thing over and over, same people depending on where you're at, but
I like going out. Like this is the thing. Like I like the idea of going out on the weekdays because I think weekdays, well, like Wednesday, Thursdays are really fun, but I can't do it now. I used to be able to do it and I did it all the time,
Right.
but I feel like there's a difference of just jumping up in the morning and going to work. And then also like, if you do it all the time, you're used to it. But if you stop and you want to start again, I feel like it's really hard.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I like
fun.
it.
Like last night I went to Mickey's and they had a drag show and saw they had some like good queens there performing and it was just entertaining, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. I haven't done this in a while.
I wanted to go, but then they left at like 11. I was like, girl, it is too late.
It is past my bedtime.
I was like, I got to work in the morning. I cannot do it.
It's just Monday night.
I know, right? Well, but West Hollywood is like one of the only places that I feel like you can go out on a Monday night and people are out. You know what I mean? Like it.
There's usually a night for everything. Every night has something at some bar. Like you know.
It's always like something to do. There's always like, and granted, it's maybe not like a ton of people out on Monday, but there are people out on a Monday. Like people will go out and go to a show, go have drinks, and you go other places and it's dead. In other cities.
Very very true. And we're actually quite lucky because of the way we do still have this Gaber name, Gibberhood.
Yeah.
Which a lot of places don't. Like, don't ever go to Boston. And there's like, it's so
Boston.
And I'm sorry if anybody's in Boston, but you already know, so I'm not going to explain your own city. But yeah, when you're here in WeHo, it's like bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant. It's like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. You're like, you already know you live in hell. I don't have to tell you.
I like visiting Boston. I don't know if I can live in Boston, but I am from the Northeast, but I don't think I can live in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much brick. A lot of brick.
A lot of brick.
Well, I've never been to Boston.
Everything is made out of brick.
That's interesting.
Never been
I
there.
can see that, though.
Yeah.
Boston seems very bricky.
Bricky. Oh, my God. We are ridiculous right now. All right. Yeah, so let's get into you, Adam.
Oh.
Right? That sounds so
He's talking about other
bad.
Adam. He's talking about other Adam.
Wow. Okay. It's going to be that, but this is only radio, thank God.
Right? Y'all are nasty. I'm over here just being innocent. And y'all.
So what do you want to know?
I want to know, well, first of all, I don't even know, how did I meet you? I remember seeing you on the beach I remember seeing you around, but I remember talking to you at the beach one time during COVID.
Okay.
Because remember during COVID, that was the only thing that we were actually kind of doing.
Yeah. I lived for Sundays.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And there's like a whole thing at the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
That was like the only way we were being social is going to the gay area of the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was just like, oh, hi. Everybody was just so happy to see each other. And we were having fun. And I remember I talked to you one day. And I think that's how I started talking to you. I don't even know if you remember that.
I do believe that may have been the time because it's so hard because you do see a lot of people, like you said.
Yeah.
You see them out.
Yeah.
But you may not have said anything to them.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But during that COVID, I mean, God, I waited for the weekends because it was like, it was the only time we could actually just be normal.
Right.
And then, of course, everybody came out. Like all the DJs were coming out. I mean, it was a friggin' party.
It was fun.
And if you wanted to be, that was the safest place to be. It was right on the ocean.
Yeah.
Sun, the air, fresh air coming in. You couldn't be any safer than, that if you're going to have to go through this.
Right.
But
I think that's how we were talking because we were all in the same area.
I think so.
And then we just started being friendly after that.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you need to come on our podcast. Because we started following each other on Instagram. And then I was like, this is a very interesting person. Like, there's more to him than meets the eye.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So you said you were originally from Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
And when did you come to LA?
Oh God, I've been in Los Angeles for 12 years, but before that it was San Francisco for 7.5.
Okay,
and then Tucson for 1.5 years, and then it was New York. So, I moved out of basically Pennsylvania. Well, Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, at age 11 when the parents divorced, and then was up in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. It's an old coal mining town. Just so you know, it's great, woohoo, excitement galore. But actually, it was a good place to go to school, high school, and all that. It really was. And as soon as I jumped bail, I went to Philadelphia and lived near my father.
Yeah.
I went to Temple University for a while.
Oh.
Don't know I was there. I was taking all these art courses, and I didn't go to Temple Art. No, because I did not want to be a starving artist.
Yeah.
Well, the universe was funny about that because it was like, guess what? You're going back in the arts.
Right.
So, yeah.
So San Francisco. And what were you doing in San Francisco?
We moved there from Tucson, and I was doing product design at the time. So came in, still getting a business up. I started bartending because, bartending is so easy to make money, and then you can still do your other projects until they start making money, hopefully. Came very close to a deal with a manufacturer in Dallas, as a matter of fact, and then it kind of fell through, which is unfortunate, making furniture and dog beds and things like that.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And then so I just decided to do fine art and started putting on shows, and then got represented at a gallery in San Francisco.
That's awesome.
Still bartending, because unless you're selling your stuff for 6 figures,
Yeah.
you're not really making that much money, But it was fun. It was a fun time, and bartending during the day, hanging out with my friends, coming back home because I had a partner of 13 years at that time. He was a great cook. He said, he'd be cooking. I've been holding because we had a pug, of course, and before the pug, I always thought I wanted a child.
Oh, please.
And then I got a pug. I said, no, never, ever
Right.
will I have a child. There's plenty of people to do that. So I was like, no, not doing it. And then I was just, we just have a wonderful dinner, and it was very like home life kind of thing. I also started coming out sexually more then because, when I came out, AIDS was hitting the front newsstands. So that has if I literally would have come out a couple years earlier, I may not be sitting with you today.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very sexual person, in case you haven't noticed.
But you were in New York too, and it hit hard in New York and San Francisco.
I was in in the area of Philadelphia, and you could see people that were sick, and then you moved to New York. I was back and forth on all those areas. So yeah, I was in areas that people were a lot of people are getting sick and dying. So yeah.
It still blows my mind. It's just like we lost like a whole generation of people.
Yes.
Like it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy when you stop to think about it.
Yeah. It's a little it's unfortunate. There were so many beautiful people and talent lost.
Yep.
But, and we talked about that too. It's like, what would the daddies been then if most of them, it would have just played out and AIDS was never a thing.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see that. And, thank God people are into daddies now. Because
right.
I'm like, yay.
No, because we were having that conversation about how, like, I was like, when I was like the age of some of these boys now, like I wasn't into that. Like these boys are into like daddies. And I mean, it's hot, but like, I mean, it is, but you know what I mean? But also like, there's a difference between the way guys take care of themselves now and, how we age a little bit more. But then you made that point about like, AIDS epidemic hit and that kind of changed, a lot
really
of it too.
did.
It might have happened earlier. And I never thought of that. That's true. Might have happened earlier.
I mean, that was a huge, huge impact on the gay community.
Yeah.
Huge. Just huge.
Yeah.
So,
but we're all there for the daddy movement.
And it's so interesting now too with like, of course anyone who has HIV with the meds being undetectable, and then you have PrEP, and it's like that idea of it's just like so in the past, which is so beautiful. Just like, I mean, obviously the HIV itself is not gone or has not been cured yet.
Right.
But it's so nice to like not particularly have to worry about it.
Right. Because there was like a major like stress that you had
I believe it will be there'll be a cure in our lifetime.
Oh yeah.
I do.
I think so.
Aren't they getting close, right?
They're getting very close. All the advancements, everything, and all the trials they're doing. It's just like I feel like there's a lot of promise, you know.
So you still do art though now though, right? Because I think I saw that on your Instagram or something.
I really haven't done any as far as like visual art because I'm still I'm writing a script in that. But the visual art, I did a commission piece several years ago. That was the last one I did. I sold quite a few pieces through the gallery and whatnot, but I still have a lot in my garage too, and some of my walls. But I'm not doing it now because I switched over when I started doing the adult work. I was literally traveling all over the world and filming and doing all that, so there was just no time for it. And the work I do, it takes a lot of time. It's all pencil, very painterly, and they're large. I mean, the largest one was 50 inches by 32 or 30 inches. That's a lot of pencil.
Yeah. That is
and they're like faces. They're not like Picasso faces either. So it's like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, when I buy my new place, I'll commission you because I want a big picture of myself, right? When people walk in.
Just so they know whose house they're at.
Right.
There you go.
I might be laying on the couch or something. So to make sure everybody's clear when they walk into my place.
Exactly.
Who owns this? So you did art. So you said, and then you ventured into the adult world?
Yes. That was in San Francisco at the time. And it was strange, too, because I was escorting, taking lovely men and women by the hand and chaperoning them to the movies.
But where were you advertising on escorting, if you don't mind me asking back then?
It was rentboy.com at the time, rentboy.com. And the reason being is because I was bartending at the time. I still was representing the gallery, and the economy took a hit, and so did my bar, not because of the economy, well, a little bit, because they did some really stupid shit, and so like we were losing money. And people were quitting jobs that I literally had before. So I wasn't going to go work there because they're like, and I haven't been in those jobs in a while. So I'm like, what the hell to do? And I've been asked to do porn when I was living in New York.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm going to be a famous designer, blah, 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 blah.
You're like,
whatever. Looking about this, it's like, so you're just taking the cash and run. But, not at the mindset then. And I was like, okay. And I kind of, because again, I'm in a 13-year relationship. I've got like friends and I'm not doing that kind of shit. And I'm like kidding with my friends and saying, hey, so, if things don't improve, I may have to escort. And they're like, and I'm like, sort of gauging the room to sort of, you're like, yeah.
And like, just kidding.
So then I told my partner, I said, listen, I really think I should do this. And he was hemming and hawing. He's like, fine, because the bills were piling up because they weren't making much money, as much money. So
especially San Francisco's is super expensive.
And we lived outside. We lived in Pacifica, but we had a great 3-bedroom house, single house, and we could oversee the ocean. And it was like 15 minutes into the center city, so it was a perfect place to live. But it was still, it's so expensive to live, and Papa does not have cheap taste. I really don't.
Right.
Don't. So I was like, okay. So my first time I went out, which is so interesting, had this client down in San Francisco in the center. We go in, he pours me some wine, we chit-chat a little bit, and then he gives me a massage, front and back. And a little something down, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But and then he pays me, and I was like, oh, okay,
yeah, that's it.
And as soon as I left, I left, and then somebody else called me, and you can remember I was not Adam Russo at the time. I go to this place; it wasn't too far from where I was. I go in, it's this black guy, and he's like so excited to see me. Now again, I'm not Adam Russo at this time, but he was so excited to see me.
Yeah.
And he's like, he didn't last that long at all. Gives me $500, and I'm like, wow, so I just made $800 pretty much doing nothing. In fact, the other guy felt like I should paid. So that was it. And then I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, and let's start doing porn. So this first studio I worked for was Titan Media. And it was just a fluke because one of their actors did not get on a plane, and they knew I was local, and they called me in. And that's where all that shit started. So
yeah,
they always
boom.
Well, they always had hot men in their porn. So yeah, I know. So how did you you said you wanted Adam Russo? How did you come up with the name?
I was Adam on. You remember Adam for Adam?
Yes, I do remember that. I think that might still be around.
That works for us right now. Oh my God. Adam for Adam.
Adam for Adam. Yes. I don't have a profile there anymore. So if anybody's using my pictures, report it.
You're like, it's not me.
Yeah. But I used to have a platform in there. I call myself Adam because I didn't want people knowing my business. So I had a no headshot kind of thing.
Oh, you were one of those.
I was one of those people. Yes, I know. Because I just didn't want people knowing my business, even though I had an open relationship with my partner at the time. So, and I decided the last name. I don't know why, and I picked Reuben, which is very interesting because Adam is of course first man, but Reuben is one of the Israel tribes, which I didn't know at the time, which is really bizarre. But when I decided to do the porn, and now Reuben sounds a little Jewish, which is fine, but I'm not Jewish. So I'm Italian, and I'm like, okay, so let's use an Italian name. Let's use something that, I can actually say out loud in public.
Right.
And that's important. And we know some of those people that had certain names.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything. And then I was like, well, the Russo was also hearkening back to some other people that, like Donnie Russo and other people that were named Russo. So I thought this was a good continuation.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there was, I think I remember some Russo from back in the day.
You probably have them all bookmarked.
Oh my God, that's really interesting. So that seemed to work out for you.
It worked out beautifully, yes. It was surprisingly because listen, let's put it this way. I don't have the biggest dick. I don't think I'm certainly the most handsome or anything of the sorts. I don't know what it is. I literally made Adam Russo happen. And sometimes I wonder how the frig I did it myself because I'm like, I don't know. And I worked for these studios and people wanted to hire me and they loved what I was doing. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Well,
well, clearly
it worked for you.
Right.
Yeah.
You had a knack.
Congrats.
It
awesome.
was, sometimes there's something like, I have no clue how that happened. You know?
But you liked it. I mean, you like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, part of it is liking what you're doing, I think.
I hope so. It doesn't seem like that terrible, you know?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's...
It can be work, especially doing studios. I always said my avocation, my vocation are now one and the same, which works beautifully. But so a lot of the, you know, for studio work especially, and some clients, it was work. I mean, it's work, babe. It's work.
Well, especially when you were escorting, because like some people I would be like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's one thing if it's somebody that's hot and you're attracted to, you know, but if it's not,
you never see this person until they get to your door or you get to their door, one or the other.
Oh,
because that's not a hookup. It's not like, oh, let me show you your favorite pictures.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you're gonna starve. Go get a job at Starbucks or wherever. You're gonna starve doing it.
Like, you're gonna be poor.
Just saying.
Well, I guess that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, just you know, and the thing is, like the clients. I had a lot of great clients over the year, and a lot of repeat clients, and some really beautiful people. I have to say, it really was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure you could like make good connections even in general.
Oh, and I've got stories too.
I bet you had some down low celebrities too.
I didn't. The thing is, I didn't have as many celebrities as like one of my friends did, who didn't really show his face, because if I show up somewhere, people are most likely going to know who I am because I've been doing all the porn. So, but with him, especially a place like in LA, he can show up at a concert. They can show up anywhere, and no one's going to question it.
Makes sense.
Especially people on the DL, you know,
because you're going to get clocked. Like if somebody, they're like,
But don't get me wrong. I had my fair share of judges and lawyers and all kinds of people in interesting places. But
interesting.
Yeah.
So how did you? You said you went from San Francisco to LA. Like, what brought you to LA, and what do you? I guess. What did you start doing here when you moved here? And then
it was time for a change. It was just time. We'd been up there for 7.5 years. I decided not to bartend anymore. You know, and San Francisco is a great city, but it's also a very small city. And it was just time for a larger city. So, and my partner at the time, who I was still with, was an actor. He was acting in theater, and he wanted to do movies and whatnot, which didn't quite happen, but we came down here for that. I was already still doing the porn and doing what I was doing. So to me, it didn't really matter if I lived here or Timbuktu at the point, as long as I can get from place to place. And I started filming, but then I started working at the Eagle when I first came down here, bartending. And then Revolver shortly after when they first opened. So I was there for 3 hours. I was one of the newbies at the place first opened. Everything was Spain.
Oh, wow.
Spanking new.
Wow, Revolver?
Yeah. Revolver for 3 years.
That's awesome.
And then, you know, my travel schedule was getting more, and I was still holding on to like the Friday, and I would release it. Yeah. And they finally said, you know, you're going to, I think you're going to have to give this up. And I was like, I just bite the bullet. And I said, yeah, because I was doing really well, and I was having fun, and was traveling, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, I took this as a business.
Yeah.
And I'm very business oriented. So when I was going through all of this, it was about business, baby. You know,
that's really,
yeah, but it should be. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I know plenty of guys. It's not really the issue. It's more about the party times, and that's like where they wind up getting themselves in a lot of trouble eventually. And it's unfortunate because if you're smart about it, you can really make a lot of money. And I'd made a lot of money, and I was never, again, considered myself the most attractive or this or that, where a lot of these boys could make a lot more money, but they were also blowing a lot of money, and they were just, you know, it was unfortunately a mess.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So when you came to LA, you were working for like specific studios, or
who was I working for? I started working for Icon Mail. I was still working a bit for Titan. I was working for Kink. And there's a wide variety of smaller studios that I cannot remember. In fact, there's one with Dodger Wolf, which is still very popular. Yeah. People love it. And it's like one of my very early movies. And They love that. I always get like, oh, we really love you in Dodger Wolf. I mean, that was like 11 years ago or something like that.
Thanks.
But they love it. So I'm like, but I can't remember the name of the studio to save my life. But there were several like smaller studios that I had started working for. You know, they're no longer around, you know, but Icon Mail was a big one for me when I started getting to that, because that really pushed me up. And the great thing about it was that they were also doing the B-roll, the acting, which is, you know, the whole thing was very different. It was a story based.
I fast forward through all that.
The funny thing is, you do and I do, because I really don't want to see it either.
I'm like, are they acting?
I like it to the nasty. I'm getting to the nasty. But there's a lot of people that really love it, and there's a lot of women that I have a lot of women fans, straight women fans that love.
Really?
No,
why would a straight woman? How do they pick up gay porn? Like
they love seeing two men going at it. It's just it's
so interesting.
A thing. And I'm like, I've always been grateful because they've been very supportive, and so I understand it. And there are straight men that like it too. There are straight men that do. I mean, straight men, gay men. Well, maybe there are some straight men too that like the storyline of it and enjoy it, because a lot of people are lacking romance as well, and sometimes they want to see that as well.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
So, yeah, for sure.
Makes sense.
What kind of porn do you typically do? Or is there any, or is it just all over it, or you can just...
done everything.
Okay.
Now, when you're working with Icon, say, and Titan, you know, especially Titan, two different kinds of studios. Like Icon is very, you know, this sort of romantic, you know, Wuthering Heights kind of deal. And, you know, they take the camera, when we're ready for the sex is just really quick, and they follow us with the cameras, very much like Treasure Island does or Raw Fuck Club. And like Titan was every precision. It was like working for a regular studio where like, okay, fuck in this position for 5 minutes. Okay, and now move over to here, over here. And then it was all condom, and those were condom. And then you had like, when I finally decided to do bareback, switching over to that and like working for something like Raw Fuck Club or whatnot, or one of these other smaller ones, they basically just, it's almost like a just for fans, only fans, where you just had one camera guy following you, you did it, and that was it. So those particular shoots were much quicker, like boom, boom, boom. You got paid less, but it was quick. You're in and out the door, like done.
Was that a hard decision for you to switch over?
It was, because at the time, prep was sort of something coming out. It was like moving on to that, and there was also a lot of weird backlash from other studios. If you did condom, they didn't want you, blah, blah, blah. Of course, now that nobody gives a shit, but at the time, it was a big move into that, and it was just the right timing, because it all worked well, because I was still working for these other studios. I was still working for Icon and doing Raw Fuck Club and doing these, you know, like this mismatch. And so when I would travel, like if I was going to London, I say to London boys, I said, hey, you know, do you need, I'm here, you know, pay for my trip.
Yeah.
So I'm making more money. I'm using them as PR, all these studios as PR, because now it's helping my escorting brand. Because again, we didn't have OnlyFans just for fans at that time.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of fed on itself.
I find that really interesting, because even like our perception or how we judge things in general has changed. Because remember, like back in the day, it was very, it was rare to see a video that was bareback, right? And then, you know, over time it's changed. And like now, if you watch porn and somebody has condoms, you're like, next.
It's so true. It's so true.
You know what I mean? It's so interesting of like how we have
the mindset's changed.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm like with, you know, guy wants to fuck me. I'm like with a condom. I'm like, and I used to do it okay for like, you know, clients, but now I'm like, sweetheart, that's just gonna make me, because it's just irritating. And I'm like, you have the issue. That's fine. I respect that, but it's not something I want up my.
Right. Well, and that's okay.
So.
Either way, I mean, there's some people that are just like, I only use condoms, and okay, I respect that. But it's just interesting how we have all changed, like, you know, in general.
Yeah.
And even more so big cities, because I know some of the smaller cities are still not quite where.
Or like other countries.
You get small, and you got some people that are not on prep. I mean, I do talk to some people, and you know, I have some younger ones, and I'm like, listen, I said, you're safe with me, but I said, you need to get yourself on something, because you can't trust all these people out here. So you cannot have to be careful. And you, at this day and age, there's no reason why you should be becoming HIV positive at this point.
Well, especially if you're active, go get on something. Yeah. You know what I mean? And do something.
Yeah, definitely. You're pretty open to like any category of porn? Like, are you?
Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
were
yeah,
asking
yeah,
us.
yeah.
So
That's okay.
sorry.
No, that's fine.
As we group
I'm
around
like,
that again. Yes, and that's what I was saying is like those are two different kinds of studios, and what I was also going to that I've done all kinds of things because like you're talking about kink.com, you know, I did one with an actual woman dominatrix, so and then the kink, you know, the flogging, all of that, you know, tying up. And then I've also done for one where I was doing water sports as well, like that kind of thing. So all over the place. I've done I worked for Hot House. I was a fisting top as well. I've been fisted in my own life, but not enough to be
I'm about to bring that up.
So there you go.
Well, you know what works for some.
Yeah.
So it's all over. I mean, I've done the dark room scenes. I've done like the orgy scenes. I've done like the romantic stuff. So it's been all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Do you,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna ask because I guess how many years now have you been doing porn?
Well, over 12.
Over 12. So do you feel like it's over the years become more extreme in what is being, because that's how I feel like porn has gotten really like graphic and intense and kinky, and I just keep wondering like 20 years from now what's it gonna be, you know?
What are we gonna be
people
doing?
are just like be sawing people in half, and I just don't understand. It gets so like brutal, you know, and like intense.
I don't know what you've been watching.
No, I mean I was exaggerating.
I know. I'm just
That's an interesting question because that is truth to that. There is.
Right? Okay. I'm not crazy.
I mean, you are a little bit
crazy.
It's kind of interesting because when during this, you know, the 70s leading up to the 80s, you had a lot of people doing fisting and all these, you know, BDMS and leather and S&M thing. And that was happening. That was becoming a thing. And even porn was being shown on like the main movie theaters, like the back was the Green Door or something, the Green Door. Like this was happening. And then of course the AIDS crisis happened. So it kind of changed all that. So people were exploring more. So people were like in, you know, there were water sports. I can show you a water sports video at that time. You're like, so all this was happening. And then that cut it out. It became like everything was sterile and clean and blah, blah, and everyone was shaved to an inch of their life. And so it was a complete like boom opposite because of this.
It was true.
It's true. If you look at it, it's like you can see like the timeline. And then we finally getting more into the hair during the 90s, and it was sort of progression back into it. And then you already had so many people that are HIV positive, and they decided that, well, you know what, we're filming bareback. F you, you know? And that's kind of what happened. And when that happened, when like Treasure Island came on, it was like, oh my God, because it was so taboo. Like, oh, you know? And so you do have more of these taboos open because sex has become more experimental. But this is just people living out their normal lives. Really.
It's true.
It's just that we've been held together. So will that develop into like more radicalism or some sort? I don't really know. I don't think it's going to go much further than what it is.
Yeah, because like, what more can we do?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, but that's what I would think.
I don't mean we,
but I don't know.
I'm just
you personally.
What more can you all do? No, it's very interesting to see the progression, and also like from how we've gone. We were talking earlier too, how we've gone from like, you know, bookstores to like sneaking into the back rooms of the bookstores to see the videos and renting videos,
like movie theaters,
right? Yeah. That's really cool. I
wasn't a part of that, but
well, excuse me.
You
so sorry.
You miss some fun.
I know.
Theaters, like at theaters, you're going in there, you know, like you're watching the dirty movies on the screen, and everything's like really. Well, it's disgusting actually. In the time that you were there, it's kind of like hot, you know. It's like it smells kind of like a locker room and sperm all over the place, but but you're because you're so horny and you're just like, fuck, this is hot. Yeah. And some guy's like blowing somebody in the seat next to you. And it's like, it was exciting. It was
exciting. Like cruising. Like I feel like cruising isn't like we've talked before. Like we never really did the whole cruising in the park and all that stuff, but it was more of a necessity you had to do back in the day. Now you just go online and you go on, you know, whatever app, and that's the form of cruising that people do now. You know, so
it's. I mean, the end result's the same, really. But but you know, like if you, and especially in the 70s, the bathhouses were very big. I mean, people would literally after the job go home and change and whatnot, and then right to the bathhouses. And they would spend the weekend. That was it. But there was also entertainment. There was it was like that's what people were doing. And
I mean, that seems kind of fun though.
it was a whole culture. I mean, but you're thinking about it now, people are not necessarily going to the bar, the bars now to hook up. They're going for friends and whatnot. But all of that's still happening behind the scenes. So all in these apps, people are all getting together. Their friends are getting together. Trust me, they're having orgies at home and everything else. Like it's not stopping anything.
Yeah.
It's just that it's at somebody's house as opposed to like, at a different venue.
Yeah, just an easier way to organize the event.
Right.
Exactly.
It's true. No, it's
and you know who she was showing up, but there's also still sex dance parties now too, which are happening.
I would not know anything about those.
Oh, wouldn't you know?
When you all go, let me know how they are. I had a question about it though. When you decided to go into adult entertainment, did you tell your family, and how did they react?
No, I did not. Actually, no, I did tell my sister when I decided to do it. And, my sister's a lesbian, and she was close. She was like,
I love that.
Yeah. I didn't know if I told my brother or not, but my brother's not speaking to me now. And I don't think it's because of the porn. I don't know. But we're not even going to get into that.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. But my mom, it's funny because I never told my mom because I'm like, hey, what was I going to say? Hey, Mom, guess what? I'm doing porn.
Here's my video.
Yeah, I mean, really, Thanksgiving dinner. Right.
So I just like.
As you're basting the turkey, by the way.
Yeah. By the way.
Past the mashed potatoes.
Reminds me.
As we're stuffing this turkey with my fist up it.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the other day.
Truly, actually. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to lie to her if she asks me. If anybody asks me, I'm going to just tell them the truth. And she initially did after many, many years of doing porn.
How do you think she knew?
Somebody probably that she knows gay and whatnot. Or
it was probably somebody at church.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like it was somebody at church.
My stepfather turned on a porn channel and I was maybe in an advertisement.
Right.
God only knows. Yeah. Because I mean, there's plenty of those that had popped up too. So I'm like, she's like, so do you doing adult work? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay. And that was it. That was like the extent of it.
All right. That's cool, then.
What's she going to do? Like, the inheritance? Like,
right.
what?
Yeah.
What inheritance?
At some point right. It's like at some point you're an adult. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're an adult. What can she do? It's like,
you're making a living.
Right.
You're
doing fine.
It's right.
I'm like,
you could be doing worse things.
Fine.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when people watch what I'm doing, they're usually very happy and elated with themselves or like having a good time.
Yeah.
How many other, professions can you say that? There aren't exactly that many.
Yeah.
So. I mean, the reality is it's a huge percentage of people that actually watch porn.
Oh yeah.
It's just a huge percentage, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's a service that somebody's look. Yeah, that's the only reason why I go on Twitter. So
yeah, Twitter just keep you scrolling and scrolling.
Okay.
True.
It's worse than Grindr.
Yeah, I know.
I actually, speaking of, we kind of, well, not Twitter necessarily, but we were talking about OnlyFans and Just for Fans. I'm kind of curious on your take of that because I'm sure that you
you've watched this whole thing change.
Yes.
The OnlyFans course opened up first, so they were the first ones to make their mark, and then Just for Fans, which is completely gay owned.
Just for Fans is?
Yeah.
Oh.
OnlyFans is not. It is straight owned, and it's by a guy in the UK. The other Just for Fans is here in the US. And then, of course, the Raw Clubs did their own. There's other places for my fans and whatnot. But those were the two major ones. And so OnlyFans started, they got the foot in. And so, that everyone kind of knew OnlyFans immediately. I could never get my OnlyFans to work with my Twitter, so it took me a little while. So I opened up the Just for Fans first and eventually got the OnlyFans. And it was great. It did very well. Both coming the same videos and whatnot, but people are on different platforms. And then they started to want to change things. It was weird because they wanted to get rid of the porn. Now, from what I understand, now this is from hearsay because I don't have any documented evidence of this, but that they wanted to sell the company to a New York firm, sort of like use it as another Twitter or something of that sort, which is a little weird because Twitter already exists. I'm just saying. But anyway, and they made all their money all of their money
off of porn.
through porn.
I never understood that.
See, because remember, they were going to close it down in October. They were going to shut all the porn down.
That happened like a day.
They had such backlash. That's why they decided to change it.
I remember that.
So what they decided to do was keep it open because they're going to scare their investors off. Now, again, this is hearsay.
Yeah.
So don't come with me saying this is hearsay. They decided to change what we could put up and post. So they changed all of their user agreements again, making it more difficult. And I told them, I said, so they weren't allowing this and this and that and that. And they was like, well, because it's the UK government doesn't like that. I said, because I'm a businessman. I said, okay, and you know how corporations will be anywhere. They'll have, shift their corporations wherever they need to around the world to avoid taxes and other such things. So I said to him, if that was really the problem, then why don't you go to Amsterdam where they don't give a fuck?
Yeah.
And that was like, no answer there.
That's
because
like crickets.
all you had to do was set up in a company, the company up in, Amsterdam, have the servers there like RentMen does now. And there would have been no problem. But see, that wasn't the issue.
Right. It was because they were trying to sell it. And
that wasn't the issue. Yeah. So, So I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And I kept, because poppers were out. Like, nobody was using them. They were just sitting on the floor. Or like, if a guy's hole was gaping too much, apparently that was not acceptable.
Seriously?
I am serious. I am honest to God serious. Because my stuff is like not that, it's not like extreme as some of the stuff I've done in some of the other studios. It's just us having a good time, fucking and sucking. It's really about it.
But everybody's doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not.
It's kind of crazy. So a lot of other people were having problems, and then they were like, I always had model releases, and they were like, and they kept changing that too, is making it more difficult for the people.
That's what I had heard. The model releases were a thing.
First of all, they were also saying, oh, it's the underage, that, and sex trafficking, and I was like, okay, even if that's true, it would be a very, very small minority, and I imagine you could probably weed out those people. And first of all, if you're selling underage children porn on OnlyFans, don't you think somebody would know and that you would immediately get caught? Because all of that's associated with your bank account. So I'm not quite buying that. Because what idiot in the right mind would just do that?
Right, because you're just you're just asking
you're
for
just
yourself
like,
to
here I am. Arrest me.
Basically.
Like, seriously. Right. So I'm not quite buying that,
Right. Yeah. I always found that interesting because I've never quite understood how like OnlyFans or just for fans work. Like I've never known like the interweavings of that. And like I know that some people, I've had some other friends that do it and they've made a good amount of money off of it. I hear it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You always have to put content up to keep, people satisfied. But I hear it can be very profitable.
It can. It really can. I mean, it's all documented. It's all like we have to pay taxes on the work. Of course, it's not like we're stashing the money.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere.
You have to,
so we pay like taxes like everybody else does on this stuff. But it can be very profitable, and you are your own PR person. So whatever it is that you particularly have to offer, and this is a good thing. I mean, okay. Certain boys and girls have certain looks, certain size of things. If they're fisting, doing this, that, so everyone has whatever they're bringing to the table, and everything has a market. The big bear daddy to the overweight guy to like the overfemme boy, everything in between, all trans. It's like everything has a market.
It's true.
So it just opened all that up because studios would only do a small portion of the little things, and like now you have everything and anything that people want to watch.
I wish I had gotten on in the beginning where like people who just like wear Speedos, people like send them Speedos and underwear. People make a lot of money off of that, but now now everybody does it, so it's like no big deal. But like
there's
you got to find a niche.
There's still some boys that will do it. There's again in some of the straight boys that will only show so much, and it works for their client base.
It does.
It works for them, and really considering you are putting time and effort into this. But it's a good outcome. But the only thing is though too, as soon as your videos go out, a lot of them I would find on like pirated sites.
Oh my God! Like seriously, there are. Yeah, I always wonder how people feel about that because there's certain sites that you go on and you see videos that come from blatantly from other sites, and they just like blur it out, and you're just kind of like. I mean, and I get that after a while, that's just almost an impossible fight.
Right.
you know, but it kind of sucks because, you know, you're not making money off of your content.
Yeah. It does, but it's almost impossible to try to keep up with it. It's like,
you can't.
it's ridiculous. And it's unfortunate because I work to do this. Like I'm not over there stealing whatever you're making that widget over there. Right. So why are you taking my shit?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to pay you for your widget, but you're going to distribute mine freely. Yep. Like, I'm like, come on, people. That's just not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and don't get me wrong, I do like watching, you know, the smaller segments of porn because a lot of people post stuff for free on certain channels. And I'm also like extreme sex and things like that and more fetishy stuff. So it's fine. But I'm also paid for other channels to watch channels just like everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, figure that out. But when I'm seeing a whole friggin' video of mine out, like I do 1 minute trailers. Like, are those enough? You can watch several of them like run after each other. So I'm like,
put the whole 30 minutes.
The whole thing up. Like, I'm like,
yeah, that's not right.
I did want to ask, like, how is being in the porn industry does it impact your social or dating life? Or are you in a relationship right now?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not in a relationship. I'm just dating. I'm just waiting for the right person. It's funny thing is the couple people that I could have actually really been involved with right now, but they're not here in Los Angeles, and I don't do long distance. So
that is such a likely story.
Yeah. And
Adam knows about that.
It's unfortunate, but I'm not willing to do the long distance thing, and so you know we spend the time we have with each other, and that's fine. But there are boys that I'm here that I'm dating, and the funny thing is the ones I'm usually after are just broken up, and that's a big ass no, and or they're in a relationship, and that's a big ass no. So I'm like, so I'm dating. I'm just sort of like seeing where it goes. I know the right person will come along, but I don't need a boyfriend to have a boyfriend either. Like,
No.
I don't need that.
Amen
really
to
don't.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people do. Some people like need it. Like they need a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There are some people who always need to be in a relationship.
yes, I can think of a few people that are codependent.
Yeah, me too. There are some people that always need to be in it. But you, listen, I can talk to you about this for hours and hours and hours. I just think it's very interesting. But I do want to touch really quick that you do like readings. Like,
Tarot, baby.
When did you start doing that?
Oh boy. Okay.
Like, I just want to make sure we touch on this because I think
there's a
it's
little
so
bit of a
interesting.
backstory with this because I just didn't wake up one morning and said I'm going to do tarot. Now I've been getting tarot readings for a long time through friends and whatnot, but it was literally the first breakup with one of my exes that kind of spurred the dark night of the soul, and I was like a living zombie. It was a mess, and I started going to my reader, who I got reading twice a year, like maybe around the New Year's and my birthday. They're about close to 6 months apart. And he was basically my therapist. And I started listening to other readers because it was basically the whole tarot is about bringing up your energy level to really love yourself and to be centered and to be standing in your power. So I was listening to them, and he basically helped me through so much. I would say about 97% of what he said came true. Things that I was like, oh, he's never going to do that happened. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, whoa. Now, of course, the thing is, like, when you're dealing with tarot is that, yes, the spirit universe is giving you kind of a Polaroid of what's happening at this energy right now. Everyone has free will. So you can exercise your free will. So that doesn't, right now, this is the possibility of what could happen.
Right.
But that free will could change. You could change your mind. That other person could change your mind. Event could happen in the world that could change the direction of things. So it's not like written in stone. It helps give a direction. And the good thing about this is I always help people to have their own discernment, to be standing in their power, to release negative energies that they've been carrying, to forgive, to let go, to really sort of center themselves and to enjoy their own time themselves. This is really, really important because we're in an ascension right now, which is happening. A lot of people are waking up this year, more politically and things, but also spiritually. So a lot of people are kind of asking a lot of questions. So that kind of drove me that when I started watching other readers, it started giving me the knowledge of how the cards were whatnot. I got my own deck. My ex and I got back together again. That's another story too. Now I'm looking at back, it was like, but anyway, and because I wasn't healed yet either. I wasn't completely healed yet. Got back together, And I was starting to get closer and closer and doing things like I had like meditation, like a lot of weird and interesting things happened during this course of time. But, and then my spirit guides were like, okay, you now going to do a YouTube channel. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So I started a YouTube channel and started reading like weeklies and monthlies and started reading, you know, some people here and there. And then I moved it to Instagram. And that really gained a lot more followers as far as like the tarot reading because it's just a better audience for it. And I've got, you know, more clients and whatnot all around the world, which I love helping. I love to see the energy change and really can help. But there's some very dark readings. Like this isn't okay. Oh, you're going to get married. You're going to have 2.5 children kind of thing. This is not what this is. You know, people always like, if they think it's a parlor trick, it's not a parlor trick because it'll dive in deep to your darkest recesses of your mind and spirit, what's going on. And I'm like, so, and the cards put all the shit on right there in front of me. And I'm just like, I always said the caveat with my friends if I want to read you, I'm like, you understand whatever comes out on these cards. I'm going to have to tell you. I said, because if I don't, I'm doing a disservice to you and to the universe of which I'm doing this. This is signaling. So just understand that. And you may not hear the things that you
want to hear.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to have to think real hard before I come to a reading from you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish it was unicorns and rainbows. And sometimes the readings are. They're very light and like people are going in good directions. Most of the time, it's just sort of figuring out something and avoiding a disaster or, you know, raising their vibration. And some, you know, I had a friend, acquaintance that was needed to raise his vibration, and now he's in so much a better spot because I was like, okay, but this is the reason why you're not healing right now. And so when he kind of knew that and like really focused on it, he was able to change it. And I also give people the tools to get through those things. I just don't say, oh, well, here you go. I just give them
good luck.
Have a good day.
Maneuvering through this and why.
They're like crying and falling there.
Yeah.
Close the door anyway out.
Yeah. Right. Sorry. I don't do that. I'm trying to like help you to help yourself. You know,
you're so wrong for that.
Sorry.
No, it's true because like some of these readings are really like they're very emotional. They are very, very emotional. And you know, you don't want to leave a person in that way. And you know, I have people that are going to therapists and whatnot, and that is fantastic. And I think that's definitely a thing.
Sorry, I can't.
You're just picturing the whole thing.
I am.
It's so bad, but I can't stop laughing at it. And I think because he's laughing.
No, I'm sorry. I was laughing at inappropriate things.
You're good.
It's like if it's inappropriate, I'm laughing. Sorry. Apologies in advance, people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy, but I'm always like, you know, if you're seeing a therapist, that's fantastic, but the only one that's going to heal yourself is you. Because unlike going to a doctor, say, for a broken leg, or, you know, again, if there's something, you know, chemically unbalanced or something, a psychiatrist may have to see that and say, okay, we need to fix this in the physical world, your body being physically fixed. But most of this stuff is in the spirituality. It's like who you are energetically, and that only you can fix.
I think that's
no one else that can do it but you.
Yeah.
It's
we
interesting.
Can give you tools. We can help you along the way. You can have other people help to communicate because you need to be able to do that. But only you can make those differences in yourself, and that's really hard. It's easy to say, but it's a lot of work.
But if you're equipping people with the tools when you give them the reading, that's really what's important.
Yeah,
like you said, this is just it's a snapshot. It doesn't have to go that way. You have the tools to change things.
That's I feel like a lot of people just don't. Even if you tell them these things, they just still don't want to face their own
trust me
stuff. You know,
I've seen that happen too. Yes,
so
yes,
it's too hard.
Yeah,
I think that's interesting. I watched some of your readings on the gram.
Okay,
I've watched on the gram. That's what the kids say.
He always says that. I'm like, what kids? We're never around any kids.
I like the Insta.
The kids say the gram. You got to be in the inn.
That's what I've been missing.
Like me. You have to be on ground level with the kids. They say the ground. They say the gram. Oh my God, that's a good.
It sounds like a drug reference, though.
The gram. Yeah.
Right. The gram. Right. Leave it to the gays. We go the gram. The gram.
I'm gonna tell you.
Oh my God. I think that you are a very interesting person.
In a good way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you said you read or watched some of the readings. What did you think of them? Or like,
I want to do one.
Okay.
I do. I want to do one because I'm very curious about it. And, you know, for me, it's more of like how people, how they intake it. That's more of my, like, what I'm interested in. It's like the people, you could tell the people who are really like, okay, I really get this. I need to do something about it. And then there's some of the people that are just completely lost.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely going to have that. I mean, absolutely. And don't forget, like, these collective readings are not for everybody.
Right.
This is, if you resonate with it, and some of the stuff you may resonate with it, and others you may not. It's not a personal reading. Yeah. You know, and that's got to be understood when you are watching all of these collective readings, because there's a lot of YouTube readers online. Yeah. But whatever sort of gravitates to you. And I've watched some readers that I would was into, and they were telling my story, and then they would kind of phase out, and there'd be like another reader would come in, because that is a different collective here, this different collective there. Yeah. It's all like different. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the same people are experiencing different things, but different ways. So if you're experiencing one with your lover, with you, it may be your friend or your boss, you know, but it's kind of the same tale. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's really kind of interesting how it all kind of works. And I'm also, you know, each reader has their own sort of set of collective they're dealing with. And I also had to go through a lot of things in my own personal life to understand and help my clients. Mm-hmm.
But you deliver yours in a really kind of in a very positive way. Like, your delivery is it's not like ominous. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, you know, it's just, I don't know. Right. I don't know how to explain it, but like, there's something very light and refreshing about the way you do it.
I mean, I try to be, you know, positive about it. It's sometimes difficult because some of the energies are there that we've been dealing with that are so dark, envious, jealousy, et cetera, and I'm always like, listen, if this is you can change this. You can change this. You can get out of this. So, you know, it is making the conscious effort to do so.
But that's what I mean about your delivery. You know what I mean? It's not like, now look, girl, I'm gonna die. Right? Molly, you in danger, girl. Like, you know,
watch before you cross the street.
There's some readers I listen to, and they curse out the wazoo, and they're usually black women who I love.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I love them to death, and they're like, this motherfucker, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, you go, all right.
I mean, you remember Miss Cleo from back in the day. No, I only bring that up because I read online the other day that Netflix is actually doing a series about, like, a thing about her life, which I love, because she had nothing, and she wasn't even Jamaican, and she had that accent. So that's going to be very interesting. Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting, because at that time, it's like, you know, if you're going back and you're looking at a lot of the people that read the horoscopes and things like that, and the tarot, they're always very showmanship.
Yeah,
like,
she was.
Things.
Yeah, she was real.
We don't need to be that or anything, which is kind of interesting. There are a few readers like that, but most of the readers are just there, and they're just giving you this information. You know, so I guess it's not a showman, but it's also now it's becoming, I think, more accepted, because, you know, especially if you're growing up Christian or something. Mm-hmm. Oh, the tarot is the work of the devil. No, it's not. No, if you are dealing with somebody, whenever a reader who's also low vibrational, who's not healed themselves, they could be channeling some entities you don't want. Yeah. But if this reader has done their own work, they are literally channeling the universal energies, the higher energies. So you have to have, again, discernment there. I mean, if it's like, you know, this very ominous, like, come into my lair and read the crystal ball.
Like a wizard hat on.
You may want to be suspect.
It's like a really long beard. They're like twirling in their hand.
It's a little suspect, that. It's just a little suspect. Yes. You know.
But then I'd be like kind of interested. I'd be like, okay.
I know. I'm like, okay, what you got to say? No, it's, I don't know.
So I've never really been super spiritual, or religious, to that matter. I feel like some people kind of lean either way depending on their views and beliefs. But I have been like meditating more, which I feel like kind of it's not necessarily. It depends on what meditation you do, but like for me, it's just to like center myself. And so I've thought about doing like tarot, like card readings and stuff like that. It's just I do have a hard time mentally like understanding like how that is like what that means about me because it's like cards, you know what I mean? So it's just it's a hard concept for me.
Okay. No, and that's certainly understandable. I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, it's interesting how the cards will bring up information right for it, and and I think a lot of people because I do have a lot of first time readers, you know, people listening, and they're like, "Well, this is my first time getting a private reading." I'm like, "Okay," and they're always kind of like wondering what's going to happen. Like if I'm gonna pull a rabbit out of somebody's hat, I don't know. But it's like, this is what it is. And when I first started until now, because you develop your skills, you develop your intuition and, you know, the whole thing with the cards. And now it's like, when I put these cards down, I really have a sort of a sense of things. And I have to be honest, because if I'm seeing the person I'm reading for and they're like, they're kings or queens, which are usually the people, are in reverse, there's a problem there because these cards should be in the upright. So there's something going on that's not really healthy at this point. Or it means somebody is no longer giving their love or whatever to somebody else. So again, that's how the cards fall out. There are like Celtic crosses and things are like really old traditional way of doing it. I don't do that. I have my own setup, but still there's a present row, there's a, you know, past and the future ethereal role, and then how they also fall out catty corner and everything else to them. So, but it is relying on the intuition and the cards. But the cards there, they have a certain amount of meanings, and that's it. But also when they're paired with other cards, it defines those meanings. So it is part of that. I mean, yes, you can take a pack of cards right now, and if you know the basic meanings of them, you can say, well, judgment card, you know, reconciliation, opening. But that's maybe about where you get until you start understanding the cards more. Yeah. And as opposed to like someone just reading crystals and whatnot, which can be done if you understand this person is legit, etc. Can be done, but with cards, there's an actual thing in front of you, and we know that this means so many things. So you have a little bit better understanding yourself, seeing those cards. So I think for people who haven't been really read or don't quite understand it all, it's better for them to have something actually in front of them. I had a friend of mine who I didn't think was going, well, do a reading for, and he was going through a tough time, and I basically sat down and I said, well, and I really literally gave him the reading verbal without even picking any cards. And then he says, oh, so can we see what the card said? And I was just like, I just gave you the entire reading. I said, but okay, let me just pull the cards out. And the cards were the same exact thing. Yeah.
I was like, he just needed a visual.
Yeah. He needed the visual with it. So I was like, okay.
I think, yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Pick the next card. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I don't like that card.
And, well, the funny thing is, I had too. He's like, are you sure about that? I was like, so we had the cards right here.
They're right here.
This is what they're telling me. Like, call the universe and argue there. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, okay, give me the number.
This is what's going on here.
I need to talk to customer service.
The thing is, yeah, I know. We're like, hello. They have me on. I'm waiting still.
Right.
25 minutes.
I need to talk to the manager. Well, I don't know that. I also think too that like when you start reading somebody and then they start to realize that they're actually relating to what you're saying in their life, then people start believing.
Yeah. Well, most people just really need clarity. They already have, if they would just listen to their intuition more, they already know the answers. What they're usually seeking is some kind of clarity on it, saying, this is what we say. And they're like, oh, thank God. Okay, that's what because people start overthinking things.
Well, it's like sometimes too, when in their mind, you're kind of like, you don't know what you're going to do about this, and you go talk to your friend, but you already kind of had that decision, and you just need somebody to validate what you were feeling. You know what I mean? So it's kind of
very similar to that, but the only thing with the cards, though, it can show you what the other person's thinking.
Yes.
It can show you someone's true intent, which your friend is probably not going to be able to do.
No. But that. Well, look at that. See, you really are a Renaissance man. Just like I said.
Really cool. Well, do we have any other questions?
Should
we
we
go
can
into our last segment?
Yeah, okay.
It's time.
Ready?
Yes. Ma'am, what do you think?
That's my one little sound effect that I should be doing more, but you just get so caught up. Okay, so in this segment, I'm going to ask you a random question, and you're just going to tell us what you think, and then we'll tell you what we think as well. So, I just thought this was funny. Ma'am, what do you think about a new sex position and getting hurt and hurting yourself in the process?
What do I think about that and hurting yourself?
Like adding a new sex position and being hurt in the process. Like, what kind of position are you doing when you're getting hurt?
There is one I can think of. And, if I'm fucking a boy doggy style and sometimes like he's on the bed and his like head is down on the mattress, I kind of sometimes depending. Now again, this depends on the size of the other boy and my flexibility, which could again, I could pull something. Is taking my foot and putting it right on top of his head as I'm fucking him.
Did you hurt yourself in that?
I could pull a muscle, and if I'm, you can pull a muscle sometimes. So yeah.
I'm so boring. I need to add new positions in my repertoire.
It's all good. Yeah.
I don't know, Adam. Do you do any positions where you could hurt yourself?
I mean, I wouldn't call them like new sex positions, but I've definitely like been in certain positions where like it's maybe not felt so great like afterwards, and I've gotten rug burn before, so that's like
rug burn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got my on the floor and my knees the next day just looked a little.
I'm really
rug
burning to the two of you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Yeah, the knees, got to protect the knees.
Yeah, I got to protect. You can like, hold on, let me put my knee pads on if we're gonna do this one.
Hold on, real quick.
See, I'm lucky. I have like two sheepskins on each side of the bed, and they're the real long-haired ones.
Oh,
so they're really comfy.
Oh yeah, that's
Look at you.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
now when you come over, you're gonna see all these new rugs in my place.
He's like, wait, let me bring the sheepskin out. And they're comfortable to fuck on. I mean, they're soft. And,
Oh, that is hilarious.
There's sheepskin over here, sheepskin
Right.
over there.
They could be all over the
kitchen,
place. On the couch.
on the balcony.
Oh, now I know what to get you for Christmas.
That was like a good gift.
Right? Now everybody for Christmas is getting a sheepskin.
Yay.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I need to step my game up apparently.
Yeah, so you haven't hurt yourself or
No, not really.
no new. Yeah, you need to
I don't know. I think I'm.
step your pussy out.
I need to do it.
Have you ever heard of someone breaking their dick, almost breaking their dick fucking?
No.
Yeah, like some guys like to really pound a hole, and they're like going in and out, and sometimes they miss the other hole.
Oh.
I had a friend that almost broke his dick. Like he had to go to the hospital, kind of thing. Like it was damaged.
Well, what did you say when you? Well, I was.
Yeah, he pulled out and it just missed. And
Oh
that
my
was
God. That is not
I can faint a little bit right now.
Yeah,
That's even worse than the guy at the Olympics whose like dick froze and he was like thawing it out. It was like one of
I
those.
didn't know that.
Yes, it was one of the in the Olympics. Yes, and he was
How
like,
did it free? What did it?
because he was doing like the cross country skiing or something, and it was like below zero. Yes, and it was just the other day they posted
I
on
would
it.
rather lose a finger than my dick.
Yeah.
And he had to thaw it out, and he said it happened to him before.
Oh my God.
Why don't they
Why
bundle it
wasn't-
up more?
Put some more,
I don't know.
How far is it sticking out? Now I'm curious.
I don't know,
'Cause
but
it-
they said they saw him like they had to give him like some heat and things to like thaw it out.
Honey, is this thing down to his knees?
I don't know, right? I mean,
I'm like, let me
like
let me see
common.
it.
you're like, I need to know his exact name.
No, it's like this is common for them.
mean,
like if I was going into this sport, I'd be like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this because my dick might thaw.
It
might
froze.
freeze.
I've never heard anyone. Usually it's extremities like fingers, ears, or something.
No.
Not the dick.
No, it was.
So I'm like,
It froze.
I'm like,
and I'm
damn,
not
how
kidding.
big is it?
I don't know, but it was on. There was like a story floating on the gram.
The gram.
I can't believe our ma'am, what do you think question got to that.
To that,
Yeah.
Can you not with
No,
me?
yeah.
Because I know a lot of random shit. Like it's just I know a lot of random things. So
Oh, it's very, very interesting. But yeah, well, I guess that's what we think about
That.
new sex positions and getting hurt.
Yeah.
And my newfound
Your love is sheepskin.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. Thank you, obviously, for coming on. It was really
absolutely,
amazing.
You're gonna have to come on again.
Yeah.
This is gonna be part one.
Okay. I feel like you have more to share.
We got plenty more.
I do have a lot more to share.
But we really did enjoy having you. And where can people follow you or connect with you?
Okay, so if you're following my Adam Russo thing, that would be on Twitter.
I was following Adam
Russo.
Keith.
Well, Adam Russo XXX is my porn thing. So Adam Keith is the acting, the tarot, and that's on Instagram and Twitter now. So it's Adam Keith. I am Adam Keith is the Twitter and the Instagram. I try to keep them the same so that nobody would mess them up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So wait, what's the Adam Russo one?
Adam Russo is the porn one only. Twitter.
But I mean, how can people follow you?
Oh, Adam Russo XXX.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So very simple. Very simple.
There you have it. Yeah. Well, and obviously people can follow us at Adam and Steve Podcast, or me, Adman2005, Steven
at Green Eye Steve.
All right. And thank you all for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, remember that God made Adam and Eve, but he also made
Adam and Steve.
Any problems?
Pray about it.